theyeshiva.net.
Rosh Hashanah Daf Tes Amud Beis 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 lines from the bottom. The line starts b'chutzlar. There's two dots. V'linetia. The Gemarah continues to unravel and decipher the words in the Mishnah. So till now we discussed the opening of the Mishnah, which said that there are 4 Rosh Hashanahs. On the 1st of Nisan is Rosh Hashanah for kings and for holidays. On the 1st of Elul is Rosh Hashanah for Ma'aseh Behema. Even though Rabbi Lazar and Rabbi Shimon disagree and they say that it's only on the first day of Tishrei. On the first day of Tishrei is Rosh Hashanah for years, Rosh Hashanah for Shemitah, and Rosh Hashanah for Yovel. The 50th Jubilee year begins on Rosh Hashanah and it will end at the end of the year. At the end of that year and not continue with all of the halachas of Yovel discussed. The next line in the Mishnah says that the first day of Tishrei is Rosh Hashanah Linitiyah. And then we'll have one more, which is Liyirakis. That's going to be the last one. What is Linitiyah? Linitiyah literally means for that which you plant. That which you plant. But actually, vegetables you also plant. Linitiyah means a sapling, which means a young tree. Linitiyah is a young tree. What is the concept here of Rosh Hashanah? Rashi already told us in the Mishnah, it's dealing with the years of Arlah. This is a whole new Rosh Hashanah. It has to do with the halachas of Arlah. What are the halachas of Arlah? We all know that the Torah says in Parshas, where is it? Parshas Kedoshim. Parshas Kedoshim, the Torah says that every single tree that you plant, the first 3 years from when you planted the tree, all fruits that grow on the tree are off limits to the Jew. He can't eat them, nor can he even sell them and benefit from them. The fruits are called Arlah. Arlah literally means, as Rashi says in Parshas Kedoshim, it means plugged, atumim, stuffed, like something plugged, in the sense that the person cannot have any connection with these fruits. It's asur again ba'achila and also ba'hana. You actually destroy the fruits, the first 3 years, from when you planted them. What about the 4th year? 3 years pass, what about the 4th year? The 4th year, the fruits are called neta revoi. Revoi from the word arba, the 4th of the planting. In other words, the 4th year after the planting, neta revoi. Now the fruits become holy actually. You could eat them, but they're holy. They have the same halacha like Meiser Sheni. Like the 10% that you segregate, that you tithe from your produce, and you have to bring to Yerushalayim and eat it there. These fruits you have to bring to Yerushalayim and eat the fruits there. Or conversely, if you have a lot of fruits and you can't schlep them, so you could redeem the fruits on money, confer the holiness of these fruits on money, and then the fruits are regular fruits that you can eat wherever you want. You bring the money to Yerushalayim, and you buy their food, and you eat it in Yerushalayim. Then you have the 5th year, and the 5th year, you're good to go. It's regular mundane fruits like we have here, and you eat the fruits. Stop, just to know, Arlah doesn't apply only to Eretz Yisrael. The din of Arlah is also outside of Eretz Yisrael. If you plant a tree in your garden, you plant an orange tree or any other tree, the first 3 years you can't eat the fruits and you can't benefit from the fruits. The difference between Chutz La'aretz and Eretz Yisrael is Safek Arlah. Safek Arlah in Eretz Yisrael you're not allowed to eat. Safek Arlah in Chutz La'aretz is fine. Halacha l'Moshe Messina. Therefore, we can go in anywhere in America into a fruit store and not ask questions and eat the fruit. It's possible that maybe the fruit is coming from the first 3 years. That's true, but it's not a problem. Safek Arlah and Chutz La'aretz is mutter.
But if it's coming from Israel, then
you have to know. You have to make sure that it's not Arlah in Eretz Yisrael. So now, when we say it's a Rosh Hashanah for Arlah, what do we mean it's a Rosh Hashanah for Arlah? What would be Rosh Hashanah for Arlah? Let's say I plant my tree on Purim. I plant my tree Purim Tov Ayin Vav. So when is Arlah? I would think, I wait Purim Tov Ayin Zayin, 1 year, Purim Tov Ayin Ches, 2 years, Purim Tov Ayin Tes, 3 years. Any fruits that came out during that time are gone. The fruits that come out after that are fine. Or whenever the date, that's what you would think. So the Mishnah comes and says, no, the first day of Tishrei is Rosh Hashanah for Arlah. What would it mean? It would be Rosh Hashanah for Arlah. This is a big chiddush. This means that if I plant my tree before Rosh Hashanah, that Rosh Hashanah is considered a new year. In other words, let's say I plant my tree Tesvav of, the 15th day of Av of a particular year. Rosh Hashanah comes. The tree only exists for a month and 2 weeks. Basically 6 weeks. I planted Tu B'Av, right? 2 weeks later is Rosh Chodesh El, and there's another month of El. The tree is only 6 weeks old. It's not a year. So the Mishnah comes and says the first day of Tishrei is Rosh Hashanah L'Nati. It's considered a new year. This is a new year. In other words, when Rosh Hashanah comes, year 2 begins. Year 1 ended. Year 1 lasted not a full calendar year, but mamish 6 weeks. Or if it was earlier, it's a little more time. It has to be more than 30 days before Rosh Hashanah, as we will see. But if it's more than 30 days, let's say I plant a tree Chavtes of, right? In a month is Chavtes Elul, and 1 day is Rosh Hashanah, it's a new year already. Now Rosh Hashanah, I start counting year 2. Wow, that's unbelievable. So how do you gain a significant amount of time here? So basically, I planted when? Chavtes of Tovshin Ayin Vav, right? Chavtes of, let's say this year, Chavtes of Tovshin Ayin Vav. Rosh Hashanah comes, Rosh Hashanah Tovshin Ayin Zayin, this is already considered the 2nd year. That's what Rashi already explained in the Mishnah, Rosh Hashanah L'Nati. Now we have to understand why. Why? And why again? Why Echad B'Tishrei? What's the Svara? What's the logic? Why did Chazal come up with this, etc.? Zokt the Gemarah. Rosh Hashanah L'Natiyah. Echad B'Tishrei is Rosh Hashanah also for Natiyah, meaning if I plant in the month of Av, when Echad B'Tishrei comes, it's considered that I completed a year. Frag the Gemarah Minolan, how do we know? What's the source of this? Based on what? And for the Gemarah Diksiv, it says in Parshas Kedoshim, Perek Yites Pasuk Chav Gimel. I'm going to read the whole pasuk. If you have the psukim on the side, you could follow inside. I'm going to read the whole pasuk because the Gemarah only quotes a few words, select words. Zog the pasuk. V'chisavayu ala aretz, you come to the land. Unetatem kol eitz meichel, you're going to plant every tree to produce food. V'araltem arlosei aspiria, you have to stuff up its fruit. Shalosh shanim yiyeh lachem arelim lo yeyachal, for 3 years it should be arelim for you. You should not be eaten. Ubashana haravi on the 4th year. Yiyeh kol piria kodesh hilulim lashem, all the fruits should be holy. Hilulim lashem, a praise for God, meaning you have to bring it to Yerushalayim and eat it. It is not regular, mundane food. It's food that has to be eaten lefnei Hashem in Yerushalayim, just like Ma'aser Sheni. And then he continues, Bashana hachamishis, on the 5th year, it all belongs to you. It's your fruit, and you're free to do with the fruit as you wish. That's what the pasuk says. What is the Gemarah going to say here? So the Gemarah diksiv shalosh shanim arelim. 3 years it should be arelim. Uksiv, the next pasuk says ubashana haraviyis yeh kol pirya kodesh. So you have here the word shana by neter revai, bashana haraviyis. You have also the word shanim by Arlah. Shalosh shanim ubashana haraviyis. V'yaliv shana shana mitishrei. We learn now the shana that says by these psukim, from the shana that says by Tishrei, and apparently it would seem that the shana is extra, because it says shalosh shanim yilachem arelim lo ye'achal, and then it says bashana haraviyis. It could have said, for example, ubaraviyis. You understand? It would be shana. So l'cha'oid, it seems like the shana is extra. Whenever we have an extra word, we say, let's explain it. So we have a gzeirah shava of another place, it says in Chumash Shana. And then we apply this Shana to this Shana. We learn this Shana from this Shana. Where's the other Shana? Yaliv Shana, Shana mitishrei. We learn out Shana, Shana mitishrei. The Ksiv, it says in Parshas Eikev, Meireshis Hashana. That Eretz Yisrael, we learned before, Eretz Yisrael is the land. That Eine Hashem Elokecha b'Meireshis Hashana v'ad Achris Shana. And the Gemarah said, what's Meireshis Hashana v'ad Achris Shana? It means Rosh Hashanah of Tishrei. That's called Meireshis Hashana. Why? Because we explained what does it mean Meireshis Hashana v'ad Achris Shana? That what? That he decides what's going to be from the beginning of the year till the end of the year. And the question is, when is the beginning of that year? And the answer is, we saw in Tehillim Pei Aleph, Tiku b'chodesh shofar b'kesel hayom chagenu ki chok liYisrael hu mishpat. Mishpat. L'lekei Yaakov. And that's Tiku b'chodesh shofar. That Rosh Chodesh, when you blow shofar, that Rosh Chodesh, that's a holiday, b'kesel hayom chagenu, which is only one, which is b'echad b'tishrei. So Reishis Hashanah is when? B'echad b'tishrei. So we learn out Shana from Shana. Shana in Eikev is what? The beginning of the year. What's the year? The year would be Tishrei. Here it says, Bashana Haravi is the fourth year, Yiyah Kol Period, or Shalosh Shana Marelim. What year? You say years. When does the year begin? We say a special Rosh Hashanah. Frag the Gemarah v'ligmar Shana Shana min Nisan. Why don't you learn out Shana from Nisan? The Ksiv, the Pasuk says in Parshas Boy, HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem Rosh Chodashim Rishon Hu Lachem L'Chodshei HaShana. And for the Gemarah, done in Shana Sheni Machadashim is Shana Sheni Machadashim. Vein done in Shana Sheni Machadashim is Shana Sheyashim Machadashim. It's always preferable to learn a Gzeirah Shava that says Shana where there's no mention of months from a Shana where there's no mention of months. For example, Bashana Hariviyis from Reishis Hashana. Rather than learn a Gzeirah Shava from a Shana where there's no mention of months, like Bashana Hariviyis from a Shana where there is mention of month, which is Rishon Ulachem L'Chatshei Hashana. By Arlah, because over there the focus is on Chadashim, months. Here the focus is on a year. By Arlah Neter Revoy, and by Reishis Hashana of Tishrei, there's no mention of months. By Nisan's a mention of months. So I have two ways to do my Gzeirah Shava. This is what gets preference according to the logic of interpreting Torah, and hence we taina that when do the 3 years end? The 3 years of Arlah, when do they begin? When do they end? They begin on Rosh Hashanah, and the same is true with Neter Revoy. So we learn it out from Tishrei and not from Nisan. Of course, if there would be no other Shana, we would use L'Chatshei Hashana. We have a choice. So what's the preference? The preference is to go to this one that has no months. This is how the Ritva explains the Gemarah. Okay. Now, we have to understand the practicalities of this. So what does this mean? It doesn't mean that all Arlah begins on Rosh Hashanah. Arlah begins when I plant a tree. Right? It says you plant a tree, for 3 years it's Arlah. So what did we say? You plant a tree in Av or in Iyar, let's say you plant a tree on Lag BaOmer, Rosh Hashanah is the end of the first year, Rosh Hashanah begins the second year. Yeah. When does the second year end? When does the second year end? Rosh Hashanah again. And when does the third year end? The next Rosh Hashanah. So from Lag BaOmer till Rosh Hashanah, I have 1 year. Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah, I have a second year. Yeah. Then I have another year till the next Rosh Hashanah. And that Rosh Hashanah finishes 3 years, even though it's not 3 calendar years. It's really only 2 years and a few months, because I planted my tree like BaOmer. But after that second Rosh Hashanah that passed, I'm good to go, and my Arlah years are over, and I can eat the tree. That's l'cha'ira what we understand now in the Gemarah. Now the Gemarah is going to go into a whole sugya to really analyze the dynamics of how it works with Arlah, because it's a little more complicated than this. Zog the Gemarah, Tanu Rabban. The rabbis taught in a brais.
Is this like it is? That if you plant with one, you can eat it the second year?
We'll see. We'll see. It's not so simple, but we'll see. Yeah. That's what we're going to be exploring now. Zog the Rabban. Echad hanetei. This is a quote from a brais. Echad hanetei. One who plants, which means somebody who plants a new tree, a new sapling in the earth. Ve'echad ha'mavrich, somebody who bends. Ve'echad ha'markiv, and somebody who grafts. There are 3 different planting dynamics that are described here. One is noiteya, mavrich, and markiv. What's the difference? Noitea means from scratch. You take a seed of an apple, say, and you're planting an apple tree or any tree in the ground from new. It's a new reality, a new creation. That's Noitea. What's Mavrich? Mavrich is you bend. What's called, I think, layering in English. Yeah? What do they call layering? Probably called layering. You take a branch from a pre-existing tree, and the branch you lower it, you bend it into the earth, and then you bring it out at some point. So what happens now is, ultimately, this new branch that is now coming out of the earth ultimately develops its own roots. Develops its own roots in the ground, and it becomes an independent tree. Once it develops its own roots, you go and you cut it off. You cut off the branch from its connection to its mother, to its original tree, and it becomes its own miyuchis. It becomes his own it becomes his own guy. That's called markiv. That's called, mavrich. So again, you bend the branch, you put it in the earth, it takes root in the earth, it comes up, and then you cut off its connection to the original tree, so it becomes an independent tree. That's called mavrich. Then you have markiv. Markiv in English is called grafting. What do? You have a tree, you create a hole in the trunk of the tree, or in some part of the tree, and you feed into that hole a branch from another tree. In other words, you mix. Markiv from the word harkava, which means synthesis, laharkiv, to mix, to bring together two things, hybrid. So here, you take a branch from another tree, you bring it in, you penetrate, you create a hole in this tree, and you stick in that branch from the other tree into this tree, and what now happens is, this branch contributes to this new tree. See in Rashi, L'netia min nolin der Rosh Hashanah shel Tishrei Mavrich koifefes azmoides ba'aretz shekorin prufina. You bend the twig, the branches into the earth. It's called prufina. Markiv ilon b'chaveder shekorin unishter. Here you graft one tree in another tree. This Rashi calls unishter. So I make a hole in the tree. I take a soft branch from another tree. I stick in that branch into this hole, and basically, this branch, this soft branch, grows in the tree that it was brought into.
What is the purpose?
Protein is propagate.
Propagate. Profina, propagate, which is mavrich. You propagate the branch. What?
Markiv is mixing of
Markiv means to mix.
it creates a new fruit.
What do you gain? Yeah, you get the type of species that comes from that branch
Together
with this tree. Yeah.
Kidayim.
Huh?
I've seen apple and lemon together. on the same tree.
No, that's fine. This is fine. To put a branch in the tree is fine. Not a problem.
Orange and lemon.
Citrus.
Yeah.
Mavrich you have in Parshas Chayesara, yeah? What does Eliezer do? Vayavrich es hagmalim. Vayavrich es hagmalim, right? So it means roivitz. He allows the animals, the camels to relax, to crouch, to kneel, to come down. So here Mavrich is the branch kneels, you bend it in, it comes into the earth. Vayavrich es hagmalim. And then you have Markiv, which is mixing. So you have here three different ways in which new trees are being produced. One is mamash, a new tree, and one is mavrich, and one is markiv. What's the halacha? Halacha is erev shviyis. If you did this the year before Shemitah, the year before the 7th year begins, shloishim yom lefnei Rosh Hashanah, at least 30 days before Rosh Hashanah when Shemitah begins. So let's say you did any of these three things on Tu B'Av or Chavtesav. Also Loishana. The next month is considered that the first year is ended, and now Rosh Hashanah begins the second year in terms of Arlah. Now, this doesn't have to do with Erev Shvius or not Erev Shvius. This would be any year. Any year when you plant a tree, or you graft a tree, or you propagate a tree, 30 days before Rosh Hashanah, when Rosh Hashanah comes, you finish the year, also Loishana, and Rosh Hashanah starts your second year of Arlah. Why in the world is the Braisa mixing in Erev Shvius? Why are you mixing me up with another Maisa, with Shemitah? Because there's going to be another halacha here. a separate halacha outside of Arlah that has to do with Shviyas. So the Bryce is mentioning Erev Shviyas only because of the second stanza that we're going to learn now. Umutter l'kaima. And that's the thing. You're allowed to, even though you planted this tree, Erev Shviyas, mutter l'kaima b'Shviyas, you're allowed to let it exist throughout Shemitah. Usually the halacha is that a tree that you planted in Shemitah, or right before Shemitah when you weren't allowed to plant it, you have to uproot it. You're not allowed to leave it. Because it was planted it's a prohibited substance. It was planted by Isser, so you have to uproot it. But here, since he planted it not on Shemitah, and not even right before Shemitah, but 30 days at least before Shemitah began, so mutter l'kaimim b'shviyas, you're allowed to leave it on Shviyas. It's not a problem. What happens if in all other years you planted pachas mishloishim yom lefnei Rosh Hashanah, less than 30 days before Rosh Hashanah? Lo yalsa lo shana. The year is not complete on Rosh Hashanah, so you have to wait till the Tishrei of the next year. You have to wait till the Tishrei of the next year to finish your first year for Arlah. So let's say I plant a tree on Chavtes Elul or Tesvav Elul. There's only 2 weeks for Rosh Hashanah. I don't say Rosh Hashanah came, my year is up, and Rosh Hashanah begins the second year. No. I have to wait till the next year, Tesvav Elul and Rosh Hashanah, and that's my first year. So the first year is actually longer than the calendar year. It's a year and 2 weeks, or a year and 1 day, or a year and 20 days. Depends when you planted it in the middle of Elul. But your first year begins only next Rosh Hashanah. Also Rosh Hashanah. And therefore, if it was before Shemitah, also l'kaimim b'shviyas. You're not allowed to leave this sapling around on Shemitah, and you have to uproot it like a tree that was planted on Shviyas. You planted it before Shemitah. Torah says you're not allowed to plant on Shemitah. Planted it before Shemitah. But here we have the concept of Toisvis Shemitah, that you have to be Moisef Mechoil ala Kodesh. Like we learned before, Rabbi Shmuel said, it said Becharish, Rabbi Kiva said, it said Becharish ubakotzer Tishbais. So he says, what does it teach you? That there's a concept of Toisvis Shviyas, before and after. So therefore, 30 days before, I have to add from Chayla LaKodesh, and hence if I plant a tree within 30 days, I would have to uproot it on Shviyas. But if it's before and Arlah, I don't get that full year when Rosh Hashanah comes. I have to wait till the next Rosh Hashanah.
What means uproot?
Get rid of it.
Kill it.
Arois warfen.
Like a Shayrish on it.
You're not allowed to keep it, huh?
No, so what is it, 3 years?
No, 2 separate dinim. One halacha is about every single year.
If he did do a tree 30 days before
You
Shviyas.
good?
No, I mean 15 days.
No,
You have to take it up.
you have to uproot it.
And you
have to
don't
kill
plant it at all. You can't.
It's gone. It's dead.
You killed it.
You killed it. You uproot a tree, it doesn't live. It's over. It's not going to get Arlah anymore. Rashi says, also lo shana, kivan shigeh mechad b'tishrei, also lo shana leminyan shnei Arlah. Your first year is up, now you start your second year. Pachas mishloishim yom, lo also lo shana. Ad tishrei haba, you have to wait till the next tishrei. Im eina erev shviyas, if it's not erev shviyas. Because if it's erev shviyas, you're not waiting for anything. It's gone, it's over, nothing to wait. If it's a regular year, not erev shviyas, you have to wait till the next tishrei. V'im erev shviyasi, asur l'kaima. You can't keep it. Why? Mishum toisvis shviyas. Because we add on to shviyas shemaisifim mechayla l'kodesh, and therefore cutoff time is 30 days. We have to understand why 30 days. Why not a day? Why not a week? Why not 3 weeks? For some 30 days. Okay, good question. But there's a principle of moisif mechayla l'kodesh that Gemarah explored before. Becharish u'bakotzir tishbois, and therefore I cannot keep this tree if it was planted within 30 days erev shviyas.
So the Gemarah here, first of all, both of the Shmuel.
No, both said that. Both said that Tosfos Shviyas. The question was just where you learn it out from. If you look in the Gemarah of Tesam Aleph, right? The Gemarah says b'chatzir b'chatzir tishbus. So Rabbi Kiva says it teaches you that the plowing and the harvesting of erev shviyas and post shviyas is asur. Rabbi Shmuel uses it for something else. So the Gemarah says, how does Rabbi Shmuel know mechif mechel l'akadosh? She knows it from Yom Kippur.
But it's different from a Kippur and Shabbat, which with even Chalak Kodesh, it has no minimum. It's just anything. Yeah.
Right. You're right, yeah. You're right. Sag die Gemarah. Sag die Gemarah weiter. The Braisa continues. Now here, we're throwing a little bit of a curveball. Upedis netiyazu, and the fruits of this sampling, which you planted 30 days before Rosh Hashanah. And I emphasize that according to Rashi, the fruits of this sapling, which you planted at least 30 days before Rosh Hashanah, asurim ad chamisha asa b'Shvat. They become forbidden till the 15th day of Shvat. Whoa. So there's a whole new cheshbon. The fruits of these saplings, I'm now waiting for Arlah to finish. So I have to wait till the 15th day of Shevat. What is he saying? What he's saying is first the facts before the explanations. I planted my tree Tu B'Av Tov Shin Ayin. Better. Tu B'Av Tov Shin Samach Tes. I planted a tree, I grafted a tree, I layered a tree, I propagated a tree, shut. Tu B'Av. So I have a month and 2 weeks. I'm good to go. Rosh Hashanah Tov Shin Ayin starts my second year, right? Because the month and 2 weeks gave me a full year of Arlah. Rosh Hashanah L'Natiyas now is the second year. So Rosh Hashanah Tov Shin Ayin starts year 2. Rosh Hashanah Tov Shin Ayin Aleph starts year 3. I have a second full year. Rosh Hashanah Tov Shin Ayin Aleph starts year 3. When should year 3 end? Rosh Hashanah Tov Shin Ayin Beis. So Rosh Hashanah Tov Shin Ayin Beis, all fruits till Rosh Hashanah Tov Shin Ayin Beis, garbage, Arlah. Any fruit that appears on the tree after Rosh Hashanah Tov Shin Ayin Beis should be Neter Revai. I can eat it, I take it in Yerushalayim. Rosh Hashanah Tov Shin Ayin Gimel, the 4th year ends. Any fruit till Rosh Hashanah Tov Shin Ayin Gimel have to take to Yerushalayim. A fruit that appears on the tree post Rosh Hashanah Tov Shin Ayin Gimel is all good. It's the 5th year. 5th year ended. So comes the Braisa and says, Nishtazai Pashat. The fruits that you planted 30 days before Rosh Hashanah or more, don't think that when 2 Rosh Hashanahs pass, the first Rosh Hashanah 1 year is up. Second Rosh Hashanah, the first Rosh Hashanah year is up. Now 2 Rosh Hashanahs pass and you're good? No. You have to wait till Chamisha Asa B'Shvat. So when I said that Rosh Hashanah Tov Shin Ayin Beis, Rosh Hashanah Tov Shin Ayin was your first year. Rosh Hashanah Tov Shin Ayin Aleph is your second year. Rosh Hashanah Tov Shin Ayin Beis, you finished 3 years. Not 3 full calendar years, but 3 years for Arlah. So l'chayre, right after Rosh Hashanah Tov Shin Ayin Beis, I'm good. So now it comes the month of Kislev, or the month of Tevis, or the beginning of Shvat, of Tov Shin Ayin Beis, and a fruit appears on the tree, right? L'chayre, take it to Yerushalayim, gesundheit. We say, no. Till Tu B'Shvat, this is garbage. This fruit is garbage. Tu B'Shvat, according to Basil, according to B'Shvat, would be Rosh Chodesh Shvat. We're going to follow Tu B'Shvat here because Allah is like Basil, but yeah, according to B'Shvat, it would be Rosh Chodesh Shvat. Rabbi Kivega says that. But till then, the fruit is considered Arlah. In other words, the Arlah extended after Rosh Hashanah till Tu B'Shvat. So that means, if I'm looking at my fruit, and I see there's a fruit that even started to bud, even if it's not ripe, remember, even if it's not ripe. Let's say Yadalit Shvat, there's a fruit, what's called Chanota. Chanota means the flower fell off. You don't have a ripe fruit yet. It's just the beginning of the emergence of the fruit, but it was before Tu B'Shvat. So what's the halacha? This is Arlah. This is Arlah. Now the fruit, let's say, becomes ripe in Nisan or in Iyar. This fruit has to be destroyed. There's nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it. You typhus? In other words, yes, the 30 days helped me that it made my year shorter, but it didn't help me so much. It's not like I completely get rid of a calendar year and all I have to wait is a month. No, because I'm going to have to make that up till Tu B'Shvat. In other words, I'm going to have to add after the Rosh Hashanah Tishrei, Cheshvan, Kislev, Tevis, and half of Shvat, 4.5 months. It's still, I gained a lot. I basically gained, if I planted my tree Tu B'Av, right? I only had 2 weeks and a month, basically 6 weeks, and then another few months and I'm gone. I still didn't have to wait a full calendar year. Right? If I would have had to wait a full calendar year, I would have to wait till Tu B'Av, Tovshin Ayin Beis. I would have to wait Samach Tes, Ayin, Ayin Aleph, Ayin Beis. But I gained a half a year.
Does it work the opposite too? If you did a Cheshvan, does he also have to wait till Shevat after 3 years? If you plant at the end of Tishrei, let's say.
Shevat counts as
Yeah,
that.
the same.
Then it's going to be two Rosh Hashanahs.
3 Rosh Hashanah.
3.5 years.
So it's going to be two Rosh Hashanahs for the 3 Shevat and Tishrei.
So you want to know, if he planted, say, his tree in Cheshvan, or Kislev, or Tevis, now what happens? Let's say it was Tovshin Samach Tes, right? So when did the next year begin? Rosh Hashanah, right? Rosh Hashanah, less than a year. So it's Tovshin Ayin. So now you have Rosh Hashanah Tovshin Ayin. You have Rosh Hashanah Tovshin Ayin Aleph. His 2 years are over. Rosh Hashanah Tovshin Ayin Beis, you would think 3 years are over. Do you say he has to wait till Cheshvan? Which would taka be, or Cheshvan Kislev Tevis, which would be 3 full years, right? Why make him suffer more? He did 3 full years. So you say, no, Tu B'Shvat is the time. It works both ways. It works for your benefit. It also works for your detriment, right? L'cha'ira would be mashma now, that Tu B'Shvat would be the date. Tu B'Shvat would be the date, what you have to wait for in order to get out of Arlah.
So Rosh Hashanah and Tishrei for Matthias is only to begin, but not to end.
Right. So the Rosh Hashanah is only for the beginning, not for the end. For the end, you're waiting for Tu B'Shvat. Now,
Why do you need this Rosh Hashanah if you...
now, that's a good question. What's this whole, this is very confusing now. You say, what do you need Be'echad
You
B'Tishrei?
don't need B'Tishrei.
What do you need Be'echad B'Tishrei for? Okay, good. Good, these are all the problems here. Now, one more thing. This is for Arlah, but the same would apply the next year. The fruits that appear before Tu B'Shvat have to go to the garbage because they're Arlah. The fruits that appear after Tu B'Shvat have to take to Yerushalayim. Yeah. When is the 4th year beginning? So we say, you don't wait till Rosh Hashanah. You wait till Tu B'Shvat. So that means, till this Tu B'Shvat, everything is Arlah. After Tu B'Shvat, it's considered Neter Revoi for another year. Right? So anything that appears, any fruit that appears till the next year Tu B'Shvat, after this Tu B'Shvat, have to take to Yerushalayim. I don't say that Rosh Hashanah Tovshin Ayin Gimel, I'm good to go. It's 5 years. No. Rosh Hashanah Tovshin Ayin Gimel is still in the middle of your 4th year. Tu B'Shvat, Tovshin Ayin Gimel. Tu B'Shvat, that's when your 4th year ends, and the 5th year you're good. Atkan. This is what this line just said. Upeiris Netiya Zu Asurin at Tu B'Shvat. Imla Arla, Imla Revoy. Whether we're dealing with the first 3 years, so we're dealing with Arla, or we're dealing with the 4th year, which is Revoy. Rashi explains. Peiris Netiya Zu Asur. Fal Pisha Marnu also Loishana. Even though we just said that if you plant it before 30 days before Rosh Hashanah, 30 days before Rosh Hashanah or more, you have a year. Remember one din. Im Chantu Ba Peiris. La'achar Rosh Hashanah Shal Shana Shlishis Miyad Adayan Asurin Hein Oilamis Mishum Arla. What's Chantu? Chantu means fruits begin to bud. I'm not asking them to be ripe, even though they're not ripe. They just begin to bud. When? After Rosh Hashanah of your 3rd year. In other words, you're good to go. You had Rosh Hashanah Tovshin Ayin. You had Rosh Hashanah Tovshin Ayin Aleph. You have Rosh Hashanah Tovshin Ayin Beis. You have 3 years. So now, after Rosh Hashanah, I see a fruit. Rashi says, Asurin Hein Oilamis. It's forbidden forever. Even though you just told me Rosh Hashanah is the Rosh Hashanah for saplings. Tesvav B'Shvat Rosh Hashanah Le'ilon. Tu B'Shvat is Rosh Hashanah for the tree. V'zu Kvar Nasis Ilah. And this now graduated from a sapling into a tree. Lefichach ein shana mischadesh, ein shnasa mischadeshes. Lotzis midei Arlah at Tu B'Shvat. So therefore, her new year, when she could leave the status of Arlah and go into the status of Rivoi, begins after Tu B'Shvat. Aval misham ve'alahalon. What if after Tu B'Shvat im yechnu tu ba'peiris? If you're going to come to your tree, you're going to see new fruits coming out. Din Rivoi aleim lecha b'Yerushalayim. They have the din of Neter Rivoi. Ubetesvav l'shana haba, the next year Tesvav, Yetzu midei revoyi peres achanutim ba mikan ve'elach. Next year, till Tu B'Shvat, it's part of Neter Revoyi. After Tu B'Shvat, it's part of the 5th year. This is what we mean, that the 30 days before Rosh Hashanah help. What do they help? Basically, it cuts off the heter. It shortens the heter from Tu B'Shvat till Rosh Hashanah, which is more than a half a year. It's 7.5 months. 7.5 months you gain. You don't have to wait those 7.5 months. Why? Because you started 30 days before Rosh Hashanah. You started 30 days before Rosh Hashanah.
Arlah is only on fruits from the tree.
Only tree fruits.
Only tree fruits.
Arlah only applies to trees. So what is Rashi saying? That since Tu B'Shvat is Rosh Hashanah Li'ilanas, so therefore we have to consider here a new Rosh Hashanah. What's Pshat Tu B'Shvat is Rosh Hashanah Li'ilanas? So that's going to be later in the Gemarah to explain. But what's the point that's relevant here? The point is that trees have their own Rosh Hashanah that's not connected to other Rosh Hashanahs. When it comes to vegetables, or it comes to grain, over there, Rosh Hashanah is Echad B'Tishrei. What do we mean vegetables, Rosh Hashanah is Echad B'Tishrei? It means in terms of Ma'aseh, and it's very, very negeya. Because, let's say, Tovshin Ayin is for me year 2. Tovshin Ayin Aleph is year 3 for my Shemitah. Or whatever the cheshbon is. Year 2, I have to give Ma'aser Sheni. Year 3, I have to give Ma'aser Ani. So I have to know when is cutoff time. So let's say I collect my vegetables, I pluck my vegetables Chof Tes Elul, out of Rosh Hashanah. Do I give Ma'aser Sheni? Do I give Ma'aser Ani? Is it year 2 or year 3? Let's say I collected in Cheshvan. Let's say I collected in Tammuz. What is it? The answer is Echad B'Tishrei is cutoff time. Any vegetable I collected a day before is year 2. Any vegetable a day after is year 3. Not only that, I can't mix the two. I can't give Meiser from one year for another year. It's 2 separate piles. I'm not allowed to. I have to give Meiser from each year. So that's when it comes to vegetables. When it comes to grain as well. When it comes to grain, when is cutoff time? Cutoff time is Rosh Hashanah. But grain is different than vegetables. By vegetables, it's always when you pluck it, when you take it off the tree, when you take it off the plant, not the tree. By grain, it's when it reached a third, when it came to a third. That's the cutoff time. When did it reach a third? Did it reach a third before the first day of Tishrei or after? If it reached a third after the first day of Tishrei, it's a new year. If it reached a third before the first day of Tishrei, it's the old year. So a person had to really have cheshbon of the halt cheshbon. Comes to trees, we make also a Rosh Hashanah. I have to have the same question. I have fruits. I have apples, fresh apples. Does it go to Ma'aser Sheni? Does it go to Ma'aser Ani? You say, oh, when did it happen? I have to ask one question. Did these fruits appear on the tree after Tu B'Shvat or before Tu B'Shvat? Let's say this year is a year of a 3rd year. This is the 3rd year of Shemitah, right? The 3rd year. It's Ma'aser Ani, not Ma'aser Sheni. If the fruits appeared before Tu B'Shvat, then it belongs to the previous year. If the fruits appeared after Tu B'Shvat, it belongs to the new year, because that's the Rosh Hashanah.
What does Rosh Hashanah do
For Tu B'Shvat? Not for trees. Tisha Rishon doesn't help trees. Natiya is not a tree. Natiya is a sapling. That's a baby tree. That's going to be the difference here. So when it comes to Arlah, Arlah is also for a baby tree. It's called a Natiya, a sapling. By the way, usually you're not going to get fruits from a tree for the first few years. Stop. It's not like Arlah is a big loss. Usually, most trees, trees are not easy. Trees are long-term investments, right? That's the definition of a tree. Famous story with Chayni Amagal, the planting of the tree, 70 years. So you have fruits that it takes decades to produce. So the first 3 years you're usually not going to get fruits, and also the fruits that you're going to get are very inferior quality. I think the Ramban writes that's the simple reason for Arlah, because of health. The first 3 years, they're usually not good, the fruits. That's a very practical reason for Arlah. There's other reasons for Arlah.
The grapes can be this first year.
Yes, there are that could, but many can't. I think most can.
Passion.
Huh?
Passion fruits.
Huh? Right away, yeah. Passion comes and passion goes.
Yes. That's why all the passion fruits can be all.
Right.
There's Ma'aser Sheni
Yeah. Yeah. No. Arlah, there's no mice. Arlah is garbage. What do you need mice for? Arlah is garbage. It's destroyed. It's destroyed. You burn it. You can't even have enough from it. No, mice all starts after.
So the date of Rosh Hashanah...
For trees,
No, nothing.
is only for fruits. Fruits that come from a big tree, a ripe tree, it's called a mature tree, not a baby tree, a mature tree, that's cutoff time. So any fruits that appeared before Tu B'Shvat are the previous year. Any fruits that appear after Tu B'Shvat, what does it mean appear? That a flower is not called appear. The flower leaves, the flower falls off, and the peta starts to bud. It's still not ripe. But if that happened before Tu B'Shvat, it's year 2. After Tu B'Shvat is year 3. And again, I can't mix the two petas. I have I have many apple trees. So I'll just say, let me take all the apples and give meiser. No. The apples that appeared before Tu B'Shvat have one meiser. The apples that appeared after Tu B'Shvat have another meiser. And truma meiser, all the halachas. So that's what Rashi is saying here. You planted it when, we go back to our halacha now. You planted the sapling Tu B'Av. Right? Rosh Hashanah was year 1. If it would have remained a baby, I would have kept his date. The problem is, he decided to grow up. That's a problem. So Rosh Hashanah Tavshin Ayin was the first year. Now start your second year. Rosh Hashanah Tavshin Ayin Aleph, you finished 2 years. Rosh Hashanah Tavshin Ayin Beis, you finished 3 years. Right? So l'chayda, you're good to go. No. You now became a tree. You became a tree, you still have a Rosh Hashanah. You're still stuck in your last year. So you shifted over, and now your passport doesn't work anymore. Because you went into a whole different category now. Now you're a tree. As far as a tree is concerned, your year is not over. Your year extends. So I have to wait till Tu B'Shvat. Tu B'Shvat, your year is over. Any fruit that's before Tu B'Shvat is Arlah. Any fruit after Tu B'Shvat is Neter Revoy. And the same is true with Neter Revoy another year. That's what Rashi says. That what? Zukvar Nasis Ilon. This became a tree, and a tree has different halachas. Why does a tree's Rosh Hashanah change so drastically? The answer is because we say most of the rain of the year. We're going to see later. It has to do with the rain, the seasons of the rain. Is a fascinating but as the most of the rain of the new year already descended in Eretz Yisrael, because it's already in the middle of Shevat. And winter is the time of rain, Yemoisach Shamim. Nisan is already much less rain, Yemoisach Chama. So therefore, most of the rain passed already, and it's considered that the fruits got nurtured, the fruits that are there got nurtured from the previous year. Versus the new fruits after Tu B'Shvat, it's considered a whole different category. They receive their Yenika, their nurture in a different fashion, as we shall see. So B'Meila, Tu B'Shvat becomes the date. That's what the Gemarah says. Zog the Gemarah, Minohan Amili. How do you come up with this idea, with this halacha, that the years of Arlah and Revoy finish on Tu B'Shvat? Omer Reb Chia bar Rabba, Omer Reb Yochanan. Reb Chia bar Rabba said in the name of Reb Yochanan, Umoti ba Mishmei de Reb Yanai. Some say, Umotu ba Mishmei de Reb Yanai. It was said over in the name of Rabbi Yanai. Omar Kra, the pasuk says. It's a fascinating limud now. Every dimension of a pasuk, every way you could read it, becomes a way that you read it. If you could read it this way, you read it this way, right? We spoke yesterday. Chayma becomes chayma. Why? There's no vav, it becomes chayma. It's supposed to be chayma. If you could read it as chayma, you have to read it as chayma. So here you have a pasuk. I'm going to quote the pasuk again. Shalosh shanim yeh lechem areilim lo ye'achel, ubashana hareviyis yeh kal pirya kodesh elulam Hashem, ubashana hachamishes toichlu es pirya. The Torah keeps on using a vav. Ubashana hareviyis, ubashana hachamishes. Whenever you have a vav, the prefix of a vav, it's called a vav hachibur, right? Like in English, you say and. The 3 years it should be Arlah, and in the 4th year you should bring it to Yerushalayim, and in the 5th year you should eat it. What's and? It's a new sentence. 3 years, no. The 4th year, yes. The 5th year, yes. What's the and? So the Gemarah is going to learn. You say 3 years you're not allowed to eat it, ubashana revius, and in the 4th year you're not allowed to eat it. Yeah. 4 years you have to bring it to fourth year you have to bring it to Yerushalayim, Ubashan, and the 5th year you have to bring it to Yerushalayim. So you continue reading Ubashana Revi'is as part of Arlah. 3 years it's Arlah, Ubashana Revi'is it's also Arlah. Even though that's not how you read it, you're supposed to make a period after 3 years. Bashana Revi'is is a new Metzias. But nonetheless, it's a new pasuk. We also read it Ubashana Revi'is. That's what he says. Amar Kro Bashana Revi'is Ubashana Chamishis is the Pshat Pa'amim B'Revi'is V'Adayin Asura. Sometimes your sapling is already in the 4th year. What's our 4th year? Our 4th year is after Rosh Hashanah Tavshnayim Beis. 3 years are gone. But it's still Asur. Mishum Arlah.
Is that a full year?
Right. Legabi Neti, it's a full year. Mishum Arlah. It's already Asur Mishum Arlah. Upa'amim B'Chamishis. It's already in the 5th year, which is post Rosh Hashanah Tavshnayim Gimel. V'adayin Asura Mishum Revoi. And it's still Asur because of Revoi. Why? Because it's, even though it's in the 5th year, but it's before Tu B'Shvat. So once we say Rosh Hashanah Le'ilun is not Be'echad B'Tishrei, so there's a time of the year that you say that B'Shana Revi'is it's still Arlah, and B'Shana Chamishis it's still not Revoi. That's the source. So Rashi, Mina Nemili Sheshnois Arlah Revoi Nimshachin Leser Peres Achanutim Koidim Tesvav B'Shvat La'achar Shekalu Shloisha Shnei Arlah. What's your source to say that the years of Arlah and Revoi continue to prohibit the fruits that budded before Tu B'Shvat, even though the 3 years of Arlah are complete? It's not fair. The answer is Ummat Rabbi Yochanan said, and the Gemarah says, Rabbi Chia said, Ummatu ba mishmei Rabbi. What's matu ba? It's a strange lashon. So Rashi, Yesh matin. Matin means recline, gravitate. Yesh matin umachrim b'shmu azula imna mishmei Rabbi. There are those who connect this halacha from to Rabbi Yana, that what? It says, Uba Shana Revi'is, Vav Moisef Alin Yerishin. The Vav adds to the first subject, Yiyah Lachem Arelim. It says, Shalashon Yiyah Lachem Arelim Lo Ye'achel, Uba Shana Revi'is, Af B'toich Shana Revi'is. Uba Shana Chamishis, Toichlu Espiriu, again, Moisef Alin Yerevoi, the Salik Minei. It's a continuation to Neter Revoi, that what? That Bashana Revi'is Yiyah Kol Pirya Kodesh, Uba Shana Chamishis. Pa'amim Shaberevi'is Asura, Kegoin, Imiyaru Peiros of Lachnat Berevi'is Lefnei Shvat. If the peiros rushed to bud in the 4th year before Shvat, it's still Asur as Arlah. V'adayin Asurim Misham Arlah, Asurin B'hana Oilamis. It's not pshat after Tu B'Shvat you could eat it. These fruits that budded on the tree are forever forbidden. There's nothing you can ever do with them. Even though they became ripe months and months later after Arlah was over. No difference. It appeared on the tree before Arlah was over. The fruits that budded before Shvat the next year, right? To unin chilul. Chilul means you have to desecrate, you have to exchange, you have to confer these fruits on money. What about if the peiros only budded after Tu B'Shvat? Ein Bahen Isser. This is considered the 5th year. There's no Isser whatsoever, and your fruits are good to go. Your fruits are good to go. This is if your fruits were planted, your tree was planted before 30 days from Tishrei, so then you still gain a lot of time. What do you gain? You gain all the time from Tu B'Shvat till the end of the year. Now, l'cha'ire, it would seem, Rabbi Isaac asked, what if you planted it earlier? So from the mashmos, what we're learning now, what it seems like, it would be the same thing, right? If I planted Cheshvan, so I wait a full year till Rosh Hashanah, almost a full year. Rosh Hashanah starts my 2nd year. I have that Rosh Hashanah. The next Rosh Hashanah starts my 3rd year. The next Rosh Hashanah, I would think my 3 years are up, but my 3 years are not up. Why not? Because
To B'Shvat.
Tu B'Shvat. And even if I wait till Cheshvan, so Cheshvan, my 3 years are up since the day I planted. Right? So the question is, are my 3 years up now? Because my tree is completely complete. 3 years are complete. But l'chayre the mashmos is, Rashi tells us, once you're a tree, you have a different Rosh Hashanah. You have a different Rosh Hashanah. So even though so you'll have to wait another 3 months till Shvat.
He loses now.
So now he
But
loses.
now a day before Tishrei Rosh Hashanah, it's no good because we need 30 days. But Chamshus B'Shvat, we don't need 30 days. So he gains again. On the other side.
Well, this guy won't gain. You mean the first guy gains? Which person gains?
Well, if you go 30 days before Rosh Hashanah,
Oh, then you're wonderful. Then you gained a lot of time.
but if you go
Because your year ended like
a
this.
day or before Rosh Hashanah,
Then you have a problem, yeah.
but Chamshus B'Shvat, there is no 30 days. If he goes a day before Chamshus B'Shvat,
Doesn't matter. He was a
he has
baby.
to wait also.
He was a baby.
But
That was
Oh,
Tu B'Shvat is Rosh Hashanah Le'ilah, not Rosh Hashanah L'Netiyah.
So he has 1 day, 2, 3, and then wait till Shvat again.
That would actually work nicely. It would be 3 years. If you plant on Tu B'Shvat, fine. You're actually very good.
That's exactly.
Then you have 3 real years. Then you have what we call 3 calendar years. Then you're good to go.
And 3 Rosh
If you plant after Tu B'Shvat, you gain. You gain. Right? Because you don't have to wait. The moment Tu B'Shvat is up, even though your 3 years are not up yet, but you gain. If you plant after Tu B'Shvat, Adar, Nisan, Iyar, Sivan, Tammuz, Av, till Elul. Till Elul. Okay. Daf Yuram and Aleph is a little short Amid, but it's not as short as it looks.
You see the Tesafot?
I'm saying, yeah. So we're up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 lines from the bottom, from the top. 7 lines from the top. Lema the loik Reb Meir. That's where we're holding. So we have to halt cup here. One has to concentrate here to be able to appreciate the flow, which will continue for a while. So let's summarize the discussion and move on. The Mishnah said that on the first day of Tishrei is Rosh Hashanah L'Netiyah. Netiyah means planting. Neteya in Hebrew means to plant, somebody who plants. Netiyah means a plant, or more accurately, a sapling, a baby tree that's planted. What's the chiddush of the Mishnah? What's the Mishnah saying? The Mishnah is saying that when the Torah says in Parshas Kedoshim that when a Jew plants a tree, 3 years, the first 3 years after the planting, all the fruits that grow are garbage, they're Arlah. You can't sell them, you can't eat them, you can't have any benefit from them whatsoever. No achila, no hana. On the 4th year, you could eat and you could benefit, but it has to be in Yerushalayim because these fruits are holy, unless you redeem them on money, and then the money becomes holy and you bring the money to Yerushalayim, like by Meiser Sheni. And then on the 5th year, you're good to go. You can enjoy the fruits of the tree without any inhibitions and without any special halachas. It's a regular tree in your garden. Eat gesundheit, eat your peaches, eat your oranges, eat your apples, eat your kiwis, and eat your cherries, etc. That's on the 5th year. Do not think the cheshbon begins as we would think from the day you planted the tree. So if I planted the tree on Purim, so Purim 3 years later is cutoff time for Arlah, and Purim 1 year later is cutoff time for Neta Revoi. No, we learn that from the Gzeir Shaveh, Shana, Reishis Hashana, that there's a unique role here for the first day of Tishrei. That Echad b'Tishrei, and it's precisely Tishrei, not Cheshvan, not Kislev, not Tevis, because the Gzeir Shaveh, Reishis Hashana. So the Gzeir Shaveh does 2 things. First of all, the Gzeir Shaveh tells me that the year is not the year which begins when I planted it, but a year that begins on a particular first day of a month. There's something called the beginning of a year. And it also tells me when that is. The beginning of a year, like we learned, could be Rosh Chodesh Nisan, could be Rosh Chodesh Tammuz. Beginning of the year can be any time. But it's when, it's Be'echad B'Tishrei. What's Pshat? That's the beginning of the year. What does it mean it's the beginning of the year? It means, the Gemarah explains, that Rosh Hashanah completes the first year of Arlah and starts the 2nd year. So when I plant a tree before Rosh Hashanah, so that Rosh Hashanah, that Echad B'Tishrei, it's a new year already. What says it's a new year? It's year 2, it's not year 1. Wow. That's a big thing, that's a great benefit. But there's a condition. The condition is it has to be within 30 days before Rosh Hashanah. I'm sorry, it has to be not within 30 days before Rosh Hashanah. More than 30 days before Rosh Hashanah. If I plant this tree Beis Elul or Rosh Chodesh Elul, then Rosh Hashanah doesn't begin a new year. It does not. I have to wait till the next Rosh Hashanah to begin a new year. In other words, I have to count a month, almost a month, and another year to have my first year. If I plant my tree Chavtes Av, or earlier, Rosh Hashanah is Rosh Hashanah L'Netiyah. It's a new anniversary, it's a new year. In other words, year 1 is over, and year 2 begins. That's what the Gemarah brought from the Braisa. The Gemarah also brought another halacha, derech agav, that if it happens to be Erev Shemitah, and you plant it within 30 days, you're going to have to uproot it during Shemitah. So you don't have halachas of Arlah anymore, because you don't have a tree left. You're killing it. You're uprooting it before it matures, much before it matures. But if you plant it more than 30 days before Rosh Hashanah, Shemitah doesn't cancel it out. It's good. So there's 2 different halachas that converge here in the Braisa that the Gemarah quotes. That's it. Das is klar. Now, before we go further, let's focus on a Tosfos here, which asks a very interesting question. The Braisa said, Echad ha'noiteya, Echad ha'mavrich, ve'echad ha'markiv. All these halachas apply to 3 situations. You plant, you bend, what's called layering or propagating, I think. Propagating, layering. You bend a branch into the earth, and it comes up, and then it develops its own roots, and then you cut the branch off from its mother tree, and it's already an independent tree. And the third thing is, you graft a tree. You take you penetrate, you create a crevice, a hole in a tree, and you bring a branch from another tree into that hole, because this tree, for example, maybe produces small fruits, and this branch comes from a tree that produces large fruits or robust fruits or better fruits, and you bring that quality into this tree.
Lemons and esrogim.
Huh?
Lemons and esrogim.
Lemons and esrogim, because esrogim is not an easy tree. Esrogim is not an easy tree. Lemons is a gewaldige tree for sustainability, for various things. That's why the problem of esrogim or kavim, huh?
It's much more stable.
Stable, yeah. So that's why it was a wonderful thing for people doing for people having these orchards to put a lemon into an esrog tree. It's gewaldig. The only problem is it's not an esrog anymore. That's the great problem in the Shal Chuvas. Some seifim anymore of esrogim or kavim, right? How do you determine if it's a pure esrog or it's not? Because it's a serious issue. Yeah.
It's not good.
For what?
It's not good. It's not an esrog. Taita says an esrog, not a hybrid.
Yanav esrogim, the Rakan esrogim, these were ones that...
Yeah, that's why that was one of the big things with Italy, because Chaim brings over there was like a Messiah for doires, like those gardens, Yanava in Italy, southern Italy, right? Italy. It looks good. No, the esrogim look better. They look better, much better than an esrog tree. Huh? Right. See, that was what Yanava became very prominent.
The seeds are big.
There's simonim in Shulchan Aruch Harav, the Alter Rebbe brings 4 simonim. But some of the simonim you can only do after Sukkot. I do it every year. I cut it open always. I want to see. The Alter Rebbe brings 4 simonim, how to tell if a murkav, not murkav. It's the seeds of their
What happens if you see
different direction of the seeds. Huh?
What happens if you see that it's not Chiva?
No, it's not
It's good to know.
Not to buy next year.
And if it's laying, you know
No,
it's
it's not a raya.
No, you could buy it too.
Simonim, huh?
You could buy it too by the same person.
Huh?
They're usually cheaper also.
What? What, a murkav?
I don't buy from
banana.
I buy from Italy.
Arabs own the orchards, right? Over there, the Arabs.
To use an esrog murkav, as he says, like using a banana on Sukkot. No. But he said, the Menashe Klein said, it's not an esrog, it's a banana. I mean, looks like an esrog. Huh?
He's trying to make a point.
It's not a lemon.
It's not a lemon. It's not a lemon. If it would be a lemon, it wouldn't be a problem. It wouldn't be food. He's talking about halach. It's a chefts of a banana. That's what it means.
If you have two different species and you combine it, can they
Make
reproduce?
it not a
Can you
murkah.
combine
Someone
them?
make it a murkah, is what you're saying. In a negative way.
There's so many ways.
No. In terms of mixing, if I bring a tree, if I bring a branch from another tree, but it's the same min, there's no issur. If it's the same species,
No, I'm asking you, if you take a lemon and an astro and you make it grow together, what comes out the next season, you
Same.
have to repeat it, or it can reproduce this combined thing.
no, it'll reproduce.
But
Because if I take that branch into this tree,
No, he says this year you put it in the
Yeah, it
branch,
also grows.
it grows, and then you
it'll grow again.
do it again
It'll reproduce.
without the tree.
We know it's the same tree.
Same tree.
between,
It becomes part of the tree.
can you take those hybrid fruits,
Right.
plant them, it comes out the same again now?
I believe so. That's the problem.
Today there's a
That's the problem. When you take the seeds, it reproduces what the original. That's the koyach of a seed. The koyach of a seed is that it's a combination. It's combined of both. Okay, so
GMO is a whole other level. The genetically
Molecular.
Modified, yeah, genetically modified. They modify it at a genetic level. They take from,
One of these cases.
for example, taka from banana,
When you
tomatoes.
tall
Put it into
oregano,
banana and tomato.
Right.
So
Will die.
it becomes
right,
Going a little bit
cancer
higher up
up and
there.
down the.
right. Okay. So all these three situations, basically, Neiteya. Neiteya again is planting. What's pshat planting? I plant a seed, I plant a branch of a tree, or a tree was uprooted and I replant it. All three things are planting. Planting doesn't only mean a seed. Planting could mean you replant a tree that was uprooted, or you replant a branch. Then there's bending, and then there's grafting. And all these three situations, we said,
If you uproot a tree, it's considered a brand new tree when you put it in.
yeah, that's going to be the question here. And what do we see? That in all these situations, there's a din of Arlah. That's why we're making a cheshbon when 3 years begin and when they end. We're telling you that Rosh Hashanah begins the second year. But here's a question. I have a tree. The tree is 70 years old. Arlah has already happened, the chvez, before I was alive, Arlah happened. And now suddenly I took a branch from this tree, and I bring it into the earth, and I bring it up, and suddenly you tell me there's new Arlah
No, the new Arlah on the new.
on the new one.
The old.
The same is true when I take the branch, I put it into a new tree.
Yeah.
You're telling me that there's Arlah. That's the halacha here.
On the branch.
On the branch, on that which comes out of the
So
branch.
what's
Now understand even the third case. The third case, I already have a tree. That tree already was an Arlah. But I bring a branch from another tree into this tree. And what happens now? There's a new din of Arlah. So this is what Tosfos is going to address. Take a look.
clock starts.
Huh?
Clock starts.
Okay, let's see. Daf Testament Beis,
If you buy
Mavrich.
you buy a ready-made grown tree from the nursery, it comes, with a big bag around the bottom,
100%.
and you plant it.
But you plant, you take a tree and you replant it. It's Arlah. That's part of Neiteya. That's the first category, Neiteya.
But it has earth with it.
Even if it has earth with it, you see trucks
Right.
driving around.
Yeah.
If you buy property from a guy that had a trade there, do you have to, he didn't give Arla originally?
No, the 3 years passed, the 3 years passed.
No, he's talking about, let's say you buy it, well, it's a house in the tree.
You buy a house from a guy that has a tree.
No, it's about the tree.
3 years
About the
old.
tree.
Yeah,
It's
no,
3 years old, it's 3 years old.
Give for someone Allah, you just don't use it.
No, it's Asabah, no.
So,
Asabah.
Oh,
Zak
well,
Tosfos.
he used it for, I know, that's why, I guess I was asking.
So let's see Tosfos Mavrich.
if someone used Allah after 3 years, it's always Usr or just...
Yeah, always Asa, forever.
Again,
If someone used it in the first 3 years...
No, Arla fruits are Asa forever. You just destroy
If
them.
someone used fruit from a tree,
So you're not Shema Torah mitzvot. You eat it, and then
4
And it
days
doesn't
still
affect
good,
the tree,
it
though, right?
doesn't affect the tree.
No.
Unless you've taken a big
No.
tree, you take it
It's not like Chametz Shavar Olav Pesach. But those fruits are forever Asa. The fruits of Arla are forever Asa. So Zak Tosfos Mavrich, Koife Fayichur Ba'aretz. You bend, that's why it said bending. You bend the Yichur. Yichur is a branch into the earth. Umechaseyu ba'afor, you cover it with earth. And then, once it develops its own roots, v'koitzeitz be'emtza kfifasa, and then you cut it, be'emtza kfifasa means in middle of the bend. In other words, you cut it between the part that's covered in the earth and the part that's connected to the tree. That branch that you planted, yoitzi l'tzad acher, comes out to another side from the earth. Kafuf ma'at me'ikira ilan, of course, bent somewhat from the source, from the main tree. That is what mavrich is. Zoktais markiv. What's markiv? Hu markiv ilan b'chaveiroi. You graft a tree with its colleague, with another tree. O mashma, it seems from our sugya, the mavrich or markiv, chayav ba'arlah, both of them obligate you in arlah, because the Brisa says, echad ha'mavrich v'echad ha'markiv, if it's more than 30 days before Rosh Hashanah, also lo Shana. For what? For arlah. In other words, you're counting 3 years of arlah. V'kashya, the Perek Hamad Arlah and Mishnayis, the first Perek of Arlah Mishnah, hey, Mashma dar kaveh potem in Arlah. It seems from the Mishnah that a markiv, a grafter is potem from Arlah, and that therefore I don't have to count for that Shri Nu Arlah. What does it say there? It says over there basically that if you take a vine, take the branch of a vine, or not one just called a geffen, and you market it, so those paydas are mutter and they're not asum mishum Arlah. The Tanya nami b'Toras Kohanim. We also have a brisa in Toras Kohanim. Toras Kohanim is of course one of the most important midrashim, because it's basically from the Tanoim, Torah Shabal Peh, explaining Vayikra. And Parshas Kedoshim on the pasuk unetatem, when it speaks about Arlah, the pasuk says unetatem v'sichvizoyel it's unetatem kolaitz meichel. You will plant every fruit tree, every tree of fruit. So the Toras Kohanim unetatem prat lemavrich umarkiv. This is only if you plant a new tree, not if you bend, not if you graft. Mikana ta'omer, says the Toras Kohanim, sipuk kfanim v'sipukon v'sipuk sipukon. Sipuk kfanim means when you continue, when you graft the geffen, the vin, v'sipukon v'sipuk sipukon, or you do it twice. You do it again and again. Even though you bent it into the earth, mutter, you can eat it and you don't have to count again Arlah. And Tosfos says, what's sipuk? Lashon sipuk b'kfanim kelashon harkava be'ilan. The word sipuk by vines is like the word harkava by a tree. By a tree it's called harkava, which is grafting, and by a geffen it's called sipuk. Umasha mavrich b'shana zu. What you bend this year, and the branch that you put into the earth now produces. Zmoides means branches. And now you bend it over again. You take those branches and you bend them also into the earth. And what happens next? The next year, sipuk sipukon. So you have the first level, the first generation, and then you have sipuk sipukon, which is the second generation. Nonetheless, in all these situations, the Toras Kohanim says, it's not netatem, that's not called planting. It's not planting, and therefore it's patur from Arlah.
Isn't there a Masechtas Arlah?
Yeah.
The whole Gemarah doesn't talk about this?
There's no Gemarah Arlah, there's Mishnayos Arlah.
There's no other place where the Gemarah is...
V'yesh loymar, the Hasim, Tosfos says it's not a contradiction. Over there it's talking about a very interesting, Kishaloi nifseka me'aviha. You did not cut off the branch from its father, from its source. You left it connected. The tree from where the branch comes is still connected to this branch that went into the earth. And we're talking about Ube Elon Zaken, and it's a Elon Zaken, meaning an older tree which already went through Arlah. And since the branch was never detached, it's not considered a separate tree. It's considered an extension of the original tree which already passed the Arlah deadline. So the fruits are mutter. For Hacha here, it's talking about Kishanif Sekameavia. You cut off the branch. Like we're going to see that when do you start counting? You start counting from when it's planted. From when you're mavrich it. So it's considered like a separate tree because you cut it off and therefore you have Arlah.
You're not talking about a cover, you just mark it.
Both.
branches in
Leave it
another tree.
connected.
By Harkava,
Yeah, I mean, it's
right. L'chayre by Harkava, you leave it connected.
And then
You don't cut
it's probably
off.
when you
Ah,
cut it. When you
ah.
cut it is when you start damping.
How would that work?
Right. But if you cut it, what happens?
By Maverick, I understand.
You want from the other tree. You want the connection to the other tree.
It's another tree, so you cut it, you see my weeds in your backyard, it's the same thing.
Put in the
Right,
branch.
so once you separate it, so the sapling, whatever's grew out, that's subject to Arlah. By a cover, it stays attached, once you move it, everything dies.
Says who? So connected already to this one.
Because you wanna gain
I wanna gain the utensils from that tree.
If you cut it.
And once I cut it,
You always
it's
take a
just
branch
power
from
from
there.
there. I have to
No,
put it
no,
somewhere.
no, you take off the
You
branch,
take off the
and the
branch.
base of the branch goes into the other tree, not the edge of the branch.
What
It
was
doesn't
that?
grow backwards.
You know what I'm saying, but there's nothing growing, once I pull it from the tree, there's no source of nourishment
This
anymore.
branch has the old pyrus, the other pyrus.
The pyrus that it has, when you took it off, are good.
Yeah.
Right.
Then you
That
make
he's
a-
saying would
a-
be good.
cut
The
another
pyrus
tree
that would
and put
happen, you
that
take
in.
it, but why would I remove it?
Maybe it's possible, but the
It's
branch
possible.
itself has the koyach in
Yeah,
itself.
yeah,
It doesn't-
And what did you do with it? You put it in the ground? What did you do? Whatever you did, it's something else, it's not a cover. Because if you took the branch off, you're gonna have these leaves.
To continue to grow from the
The
same
bottom-
place where the
the bottom part, you don't move
Just
backwards.
the opposite. I didn't know. I don't understand the bericha. I cut it. You cut it, it's no more bericha.
No, after a while, yeah. After a while, you cut
It's
it.
simple.
You want it to take root. You want it first to take root, then you cut it.
Then it's still counted also as cut it in the beginning. Once it's connected,
It's not mechuyev and early. You see, he's saying, Tosis is saying, as long as it's connected, it's not mechuyev and early. At what
Right.
point is it mechuyev and
Right,
early?
right,
So,
yeah. Right. So when it says over here that what? That it's mechuyev and Arlah, it's talking about you never cut it. I mean, when you say it's mechuyev and Arlah, it's talking about that you cut it off. You cut off the branch. However, it's mechuber to the first tree, then there's absolutely no chiyuv and Arlah. So you have to say the same thing by Harkava also. You basically took a branch from a tree to another tree, and you created Harkava, but you didn't separate it from the first tree, so then it's a P'tur Arlah.
The whole
However-
Koyach is talking about that problem.
No, Maverick.
Markiv and Mavriv.
Maverick. So he's worried about Maverick, but I know he's talking about it, but he talks the whole case with
No, it seems that Tosis
with the Gemarah. He's talking about Sibuk Sipuk is all
Right,
Maverick.
right.
Sibuk Sipuk is all Maverick.
Right.
Has to be. It doesn't work any other way.
but if you start off connected and then you cut it,
The point is from when you cut it. It's like considered a new Metzias. That's what he says. So Taisva says, "V'tzarech l'daktik." You have to be medaktik. You have a shayach l'shnuya hachi. If we would have been able to said this difference, answer this, when it says beperik Mashuach Mulchama in Masechta Saited, there's a peri that begins with Mashuach Mulchama. The Gemarah speaks over there legabi choizim Ohr Chaim Mulchama. The pasuk says that somebody who plants a new vineyard, right, and he didn't yet enjoy the fruits, so he could go back and not fight. So the question is Mishum Mavrich. What about if you didn't plant a new tree but you were Mavrich? Are you chayzer from the Mulchama or not? So the Gemarah over there brings a stira between the Mishnah that says that you are chayzer mercham Mulchama and the Brisa says you're not. Or Mashani, the Gemarah answers kan bar kavas isur, but kan bar kavas heter. If you are mark of min b'she'enoi minoi, it's not called an atiyah because it's an isur. Then you don't go back from war; you stay in the war. But if it's harkavas heter, meaning it was min b'minoi, it was a branch from one species into the same species, it's called an atiyah. For ektoisvus, maybe you could have answered also this answer, and that is if you are mafsek it, if it's separated, then you come back for more, and if not, you don't come back for more. So his question is if this would actually be an answer legabe coming back from Mulchama, just like we're answering it legabe Arlah.
Maybe it's the
That's
other
a
way
moot
around,
point,
that
because if he does it-
then he goes very
Because of the Issa, you know, Chet B'Yudah.
This is a verse of Yoda. He look a verse of Yoda. You don't do.
Different exemption.
No.
I think the word is that Torah doesn't recognize it as a tree, not a legitimate tree. Not a legitimate tree.
But that's Miyashiyori, you know.
So he could send a telegram to his wife to uproot it. Yeah.
There's a verse of Yoda. He did it. Yoda, Yakshav. When it says at the end, Miyashiyori.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to announce that.
Yeah. They say that there was once when the British had a mandate over Israel and they were completely in control. So there was one of the Jews who was in one of the organizations, the groups fighting for independence, and he was imprisoned. And he had a big farm and a big field. So his wife writes a letter to him and in the prison, and she says, there's nobody to do the plowing. It's going to be horrible. We're going to lose all the fruits. So he writes back a letter from prison to her, and he says, just make sure if you're getting somebody to do the plowing, remember all the weapons that are buried in the farm and all the weapons that are buried in the field. Just remember that. The next day, hundreds of British soldiers came. They turned over the whole field for a few days. A few days later, her husband writes to her, now you could plant. But, it's one of the old uses.
It's not from 200 years ago.
Somebody once said, Maisa shaloi hoya kach hoya. Okay.
It's a good point. You said
What?
it's not one of the stories from 200 years ago, 300
Oh.
years ago. From the, this is 50,
Maybe it's true.
60 years ago.
Okay. So that's just a detail in terms of Mavrich and Markev. What are we left with? We're left with the fact that we have a new Rosh Hashanah and we start counting for Rosh Hashanah. Now, l'cha'oira, everything is glatt. The problem is that the issue is not a problem. The fact is that on the Afyud Amid Aleph, the first line, the Brisa continues and throws us what we would call a curveball. And the curveball is that Tu B'Shvat suddenly comes into play. Where does Tu B'Shvat come into play? I guess very apropos to learn this week. Where does Tu B'Shvat come into play? That suddenly these fruits that you planted a month before Rosh Hashanah, don't think that 2 years later, Rosh Hashanah, you're good to go. Because till Rosh Hashanah, you have a 1 month, which is 1 year. You wait one more Rosh Hashanah is 2 years. You wait one more Rosh Hashanah is 3 years. And Tzom Gedalia, right after Rosh Hashanah, right after that, any fruit that appears on the tree is already after Arlah. No, it's Asr. Depends if you fast. Okay, very good. Yeah. So these peiros are Asr till Tu B'Shvat. They're Asr till Tu B'Shvat. In other words, I don't really gain mamish. A month is mamish a year. No, you still have to wait a few months. You have to wait Cheshvan, you have to wait Kislev, you have to wait Tevis, you have to wait till Tu B'Shvat according to Basila. What do I have to wait for? That any fruit that buds on the tree before the 15th day of Shvat, what do I mean buds? The flower falls off and the tiny little fruit starts emerging. This is what we call in halacha chanota, when the flower falls off and in the place of the flower you have now a little fruit, even though it's going to take a long time for it to develop and ripen, mature. Nonetheless, if that budding began even a day before Tu B'Shvat, that fruit is asur forever. Forever. However, if till Tu B'Shvat there were only flowers, after Tu B'Shvat, Tezayin Shvat, it starts budding, now my Arlah is over, because Tu B'Shvat is over, Tezayin Shvat, my Arlah is over, now it's my 4th year, I bring it to Yerushalayim. If I wait one more year to B'Shvat, my 5th year is over, my 4th year is over, and I bring it to my house. All is good. So we added here a few extra months.
The year is over to B'Shvat.
The year is over to B'Shvat for Arlah and for Neter Revai. That was the end of the Brisa.
Even the Gemara wouldn't have to say it. It says in the Mishnah.
Which Mishnah?
In our Mishnah it says.
No, our Mishnah says that Tu B'Shvat is Rosh Hashanah for trees, but here it began with a sapling, with a baby, which is called a sapling.
So how would you learn the Mishnah if not the Gemara says this?
No, I would learn the Mishnah that once I have a mature tree that's producing apples, right? And I have to give meiser from these apples. Okay, so my apples are growing. Now, right? My apples. Now, let me just tell you. Usually when you have a tree, it's very uncommon to have chanota before Tu B'Shvat. Chanota means budding. Budding, that the flower falls off. Right? Usually the fruits start growing after Tu B'Shvat, which is the new year. So let's say I have a tree this year, Tav Shnai and Zion. I go out to my farm today, to my orchard today, which is before Tu B'Shvat, right? Just a few days before Tu B'Shvat, and I see new little fruits that are budding. Yeah? I have to give meiser from these fruits based on Tavshin Ayin Vav, not Tavshin Ayin Zayin. The year is not over yet. If Tavshin Ayin Vav is my 2nd year of Shemitah, I have to give meiser Sheni, not meiser Oni. The fruits that are budding after Tu B'Shvat, I have to give a new meiser. I have to give meiser Oni, not meiser Sheni. This is a very big halachic difference. Another thing, I can't combine both fruits to give Meiser from both of them together. Because the mice has to be given from each year separate. Yeah, so I would have said that what? Rosh Hashanah Lilanis is a tree. A tree has separate halachas. Vegetables.
Trees that have different kinds.
The first ones to just
If it doesn't bud, they have to tie your ribbons.
So you would say like this: vegetables.
Arlah is also for a tree.
Arlah is for a baby tree, for a natia, for a sapling. There's a natia and there's an ilam. There's a baby tree and there's a full tree, a mature tree. Now, for vegetables, we're going to see soon the next sugya. That's echad b'tishrei. For grain, it's echad b'tishrei, right? For saplings, arlah, it's echad b'tishrei. Fruits have a separate Rosh Hashanah. Now we have to understand why Chazal makes such a different Rosh Hashanah for vegetables, for grain, for saplings, one, and for fruits, you have to wait a few months. That's a great question.
But they're recurring, they're different.
Yes, of course, it's a whole different creature. So that's the chiddush here, that even for Arlah, once you hit Rosh Hashanah year 3, so I planted my tree to Ba'av Tavshin Samach Tes. Rosh Hashanah Tavshin Ayin is year 1. Rosh Hashanah Tavshin Ayin Aleph, 2 years finished. Rosh Hashanah Tavshin Ayin Beis, 3 years finished. Rosh Hashanah Tavshin Ayin Beis, it's called an Elon. It's called an Elon, and now the fruits are Arlah. 3 years passed. But for the Elon, 3 years didn't pass, because the Elon's end of the year is to be Shvat. So therefore my Arlah extends, and this is a compensation for the fact that my first year was so short, so my third year gets extended a few months. I still gain a lot, because after Tu B'Shvat, I can enjoy all the fruits, even though Me'ikir Hadin I should have waited till Tu B'Av. I have to wait many more months till I have my 3 full years. But no, I gained here a lot of time. What did I gain? I gained all this time between Tu B'Shvat and Tu B'Av. Whenever I planted the tree, I gained a lot of time. And the same is true the next year with Neter Revoy. Ad Kan. That's what the Braisa said. The Gemarah also brought the source of this. The source of this was that it's Mashma and Chumash that sometimes Arlah extends to the 4th year and Neter Revoy extends to the 5th year. Where do you have a situation that extends to the 4th year and 5th year? Why should you do that? In these situations, Rosh Hashanah, Tavshanayim Beis, 3 years were over, but my Arlah extends into my 4th year till Tu B'Shvat, and my Neter Revoy, which should have been over Rosh Hashanah, Tavshanayim Gimel, extends into the 5th year and goes till Tu B'Shvat. Atkan. This is the sugya now. Now the Gemarah starts analyzing this, going off to a new subject, but it's going to come back to this issue. What was very important to remember was Rashi's Hagdara. Rashi's Hagdara was that Rosh Hashanah, the 3rd year, it's not an Atiyah anymore, it's an Elon. Because it's an Elon, therefore I have to wait. Why don't you tell me, why don't you ask me, if you want 3 full years, if you don't like a month, you feel that a month is not called a year, so extend it much longer, make it real years, make it 2 B'Av, so I have to wait 3 years, 2 B'Av. What do you have to make games for? The answer is that Rosh Hashanah, the 3rd year, because its taka becomes an Elon, because the taka becomes a tree, so therefore once Tu B'Shvat hits, it's be'emes Rosh Hashanah Li'Elanis, and since it's be'emes Rosh Hashanah Li'Elanis, so you're good to go, and you don't have to make it any longer from this. That is how Rashi is telling us the Gemarah. You can eat in Yerushalayim. You can eat in Yerushalayim. Once Tu B'Shvat comes, Tu B'Shvat I can eat it, yeah. Right. No, but that's the reason I don't have to go after Tu B'Shvat. I don't have to wait till Tu B'Av.
No, but if not the Gemarah, we would have been able to eat it right after Rosh Hashanah. If not this Chiddush,
Right. We accomplished changing the name. 2 things. First of all, we extended it and we shortened it. We extended till Tu B'Shvat and we shortened it before the end of the year. Okay. Now, I don't want to confuse the Olam, but this is important to mention. This explanation that I just gave is for Rashi, as we learned Rashi inside yesterday, This is what Rashi tells us, that this whole halacha applies only to a sapling that was planted 30 days or more before Rosh Hashanah. This is how Rashi learns the Gemarah. This is how the Rambam learns the Gemarah. This is, you'll soon see. The Ravid learns the Gemarah, Rabbi Hanana learns the Gemarah, and the Meiri learns the Gemarah. Meaning some of the greatest Rishonim. According to all their views, what about a sapling that was planted less than 30 days before Rosh Hashanah? Let's discuss that one. Not more than 30. More than 30 days, we just learned the halach. What if it was planted less than 30 days before Rosh Hashanah? Then, the years of art, no, I'm saying not Shvius. If it's Erev Shvius, yeah, you have to destroy it. So then it's not negate. But if it's a regular year, then it seems from Rashi clearly that what do? You count from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah, but you can't start counting. You skip the first Rosh Hashanah. So basically, your first year gets extended. So if I plant my tree on Tesvav Elul, Rosh Hashanah is not year 1. If it's Rosh Hashanah Tavshin Ayin, so I have to wait till Rosh Hashanah Tavshin Ayin Aleph for year 1. Rosh Hashanah Tavshin Ayin Beis is year 2. Rosh Hashanah Tavshin Ayin Gimel is year 3. And these are 3 proper years.
Still have to wait till
And then to be Shevat.
So l'cha'oida, once Rosh Hashanah, the 4th year begins, the Elon completely leaves Arlah, and the Peiros are not Asr. Why are they not Asr? Because you really waited 3 full years. You didn't have any shortcuts. You really waited 3 full years. You waited even longer than 3 years. Yeah, you started Tesvav Elul, and you really waited. The first Rosh Hashanah is extra 15 days, and then you go 3 Rosh Hashanahs. It's really 3 years and 15 days.
Yeah, but now he's an Ilan.
is only because I didn't wait.
Yeah, Chamishasa B'Shvat was because I didn't have really my 3rd year yet.
So if somebody plants a cheshru, if somebody plants a cheshru, maybe should cheshru after the 3rd year, you should be able to use it.
30 days before.
Good question. That's what you asked. We'll go there in 1 minute. Okay? This is the shit of Rashi, the Rambam, the Ravid, Rabbi Hananel, and the Meiri. However, other Rishonim, including Tosfos right here, including the Rashba, including the Ritva, including the Ran, and including the Baal HaMoyer. So you're dealing with heavy hitters on both sides. They say that this interpretation of the Gemarah is completely wrong. They say that this idea that the Peiros are Asr till Tu B'Shvat applies to every single Netiyah. Not only a Netiyah in which you gained your 30 days as a full year because you planted it 30 days before Rosh Hashanah. According to them, we have a Gevaldike Chiddush and a Gevaldike Chumrah. The Brisa is teaching us that even though Rosh Hashanah L'Netiyah is the first day of Tishrei, nonetheless, and I planted it Tesvav Elul, and I'm waiting till Rosh Hashanah for the first year, till the 2nd Rosh Hashanah, and I have 3 full Rosh Hashanahs that passed. So I have 3 full years. Nonetheless, Arlah continues till the next Tu B'Shvat. In other words, you wait 3 years, 15 days, and Tishrei, Cheshvan, Kislev, Tev, Shvat, and almost 5 months. Why? What's the pshat? What's the Havana? And again, and the same is with Neter Revoi. The same is with Neter Revoi. Neter Revoi won't be Mutter Rosh Hashanah Tavshnai and Dalet. Neter Revoi will be Mutter Tu B'Shvat Tavshnai and Dalet. In other words, you're waiting 4 years and almost a half a year. Ad kedei kach. That's their shitta.
According to the word of Rashi, it makes sense.
What's the Havana? They say Azai. The reason we extended it till Tu B'Shvat is not because we feel guilty that we shortened his year, and therefore we say, give me another few months, and since it's an Elon, Rosh Hashanah L'Ilonis is good. That's not the word, because here I have no guilt, so to speak. I'm using the word guilt, I don't mean guilt. I mean that there's a problem here that the year was shortened. Here he did 3 full years, Mahadrin, Mina Mahadrin. He did more than 3 years, he did 3 full calendar years. Vos Wilson, Torah says 3 years, he waited 3 years. They tie Nazai that Peiros that bud till Tu B'Shvat basically are living off the sap of the tree that was created from the rain of last year. Peiros that emerged in the tree, in Cheshvan, Kislev, Teves, till Tu B'Shvat, they're coming from the Yinika, they're nurture from the tree that comes from the rain of last year. The koyach, the chiyus of this tree is not Tavshanayin Zayin, it's Tavshanayin Vav. It's the rain of Tavshanayin Vav. The Peiros that bud after Tu B'Shvat, their primary chiyus is attributed to the rain of Tavshanayin Zayin, because they're deep into the winter. But this budding that comes before Tu B'Shvat, That's called Peiros of Tavshnayin Vav.
Why should that play?
Even though they grew Tavshnayin Zayin. B'meila, they say, what do I care that 3 years passed? These Peiros that emerged in Tevis, these Peiros that emerged Yudalit Shvat, these are Tavshnayin Vav Peiros. They're the reign of Tavshnayin Vav, so you have to wait. You counted 3 years, but the Peiros are considered old Peiros. That's their
So
shit.
if a cow wanders into a field and eats Peiros of Arlah, you shut the cow, you can't eat the meat. Because the Indika was it doesn't work like that.
Right.
But why should it work like that here? More so than any other.
La halacha, the Rosh saves us and he says you don't have to decide because you're not going to find a tree that has chamata before Tu B'Shvat these days. That's what the Rosh tells us. He says you don't have to have a headache from deciding the halacha.
Many countries that
First of all, you do it in a greenhouse.
Right? Huh?
You do it in a
Yeah,
greenhouse.
yeah. You have to still know the halacha. You have to still know the halacha.
greenhouse has those to do with dates.
Sure, if it's in the ground.
Ah.
If it's in
Would it
water,
be any
if
different,
it's in hydroponics,
the Gaba Shvias uprooting
you can have it.
with the 30 days?
No, that's clear. If it's within 30 days, you uproot it Shemitah. If it's before 30 days, you don't uproot it. But here there's one shaila. Here there's one shaila. What's the shaila? Let's think about this now. You understand the second shitta? Very different shitta. So when it says on the first line of Daf Yud, Peiros Netiya Zu Asurin Atu B'Shvat, what's Peiros Netiya Zu? Rashi says Peiros Netiya Zu is if he planted it 30 days before Rosh Hashanah. They say Peiros Netiya Zu is both cases. 30 days before Rosh Hashanah and within 30 days. But here we have a question. The question is, if according to them, the 15th day of Shevat is the day that Arlah ends by every Netiya, so there's never a Metzias that Arlah becomes mutter be'echad b'tishrei. There's never such a Metzias. There's no such a thing. Right? According to Rashi, there's a Metzias that echad b'tishrei becomes mutter. When? If you planted your tree right before Rosh Hashanah, within the month, that Rosh Hashanah, 4 years later, you're good. But according to Shittas HaTosfos, Echad B'Tishrei never does anything. It never does the magic.
Not for trees.
For trees. Never. Why? Because even if I planted it even if I planted it 10 minutes before Rosh Hashanah, no difference. I can't wait till Echad B'Tishrei. I have to wait till Tu B'Shvat. That's what you're telling me. You're telling me that all the fruits till Tu B'Shvat are going to be Arlah. If so, why are you calling it Rosh Hashanah L'Netiyah? What makes it a Rosh Hashanah L'Netiyah? Loit Rashi, it's very geshmak. If I plant a tree within 30 days of Rosh Hashanah, if I plant a tree within 30 days before Rosh Hashanah, Rosh Hashanah is the time when Arlah ends. It's beautiful.
Not that it ends to Shvat, it's just...
No, Rashi's shitta. Rashi's shitta ends to Bishvat only if you gained a year. Loit Rashi, Tu B'Shvat only works if you planted your tree more than 30 days before. That's when you need it, because you need to extend it. But if you did it Tesvav Elul, yeah? So Rosh Hashanah, not that Rosh Hashanah is not year one. That Rosh Hashanah is worthless. But the next Rosh Hashanah is year one. Count 3 Rosh Hashanahs, and you're good.
And then there's no Tu B'Shvat?
There's no Tu B'Shvat.
37 months.
Huh?
37 months.
Only when you do it with 31
Right.
days.
But it's already ill. If the advert is that it's already ill.
Yeah, but you had 3 full years.
The only guilt is if you do it 31 days before.
If I did 31 days, I cut my year. My year became a
So it
month.
can never be less than 2.5 years.
Right.
And it can
Okay,
be...
But like Tosfos, there's no Rosh Hashanah. Why are you calling it Rosh Hashanah? What's a Rosh Hashanah? Tell me what's a Rosh Hashanah for.
There's 2 ways how it becomes mitter. Either it's
Yeah.
Tu B'Shvat if it's 30 days,
Yeah.
if not, then it's 30.
Yeah. The answer is as follows. That they're right that it's Rosh Hashanah L'Netiyah for one issue. And that is that for the first year of Arlah, only Tishrei, not Chamisha Asa B'Shvat, is considered Rosh Hashanah. Meaning,
We start from that.
in a case where I planted it 30 days before Rosh Hashanah, so then we say that those 30 days are considered the first year. Those 30 days are considered the first year. What about if I planted 30 days before Chamisha Asa B'Shvat? Do you say, I had 30 days before Rosh Hashanah Li'alanis, so Tu B'Shvat is considered a new year? No. You have to wait till Rosh Hashanah to get your new year. That's where the Rosh Hashanah works. The Rosh Hashanah works for that one situation where you're planting it 30 days before Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is considered a new year. That wouldn't apply to Chamishas B'Shvat. If I plant a tree, Yud Dalet Tevis, we don't say Tu B'Shvat, the first year of Arlah is up. No. Tu B'Shvat doesn't mean anything for the sapling. It's a very nice day, but it's not a new year. Wait till next Rosh Hashanah, that's going to be your new year. That's going to be your new year.
Maybe I missed this point, but why aren't we just say 3 years from when you planted it? Why do we need these Rosh Hashanahs? I understand what Shtarais with practical reasons why you needed to use these Rosh Hashanahs.
You only say it when there's 3 full years.
No, why don't you just say whenever you drop the seed in the ground?
So we learned yesterday, the Gemarah says that basically there's extra words of Shana, year. So we make a Gzeirah Shava to Reishis Hashanah, which basically teaches me that Rosh Chodesh Tishrei is the new year. That's what the Gemarah right away discussed, why the Chazal are even doing anything with this. Why don't we just stick to the...
Everyone's going to have different...
Huh?
Fine, but it's 3 years, so what? Everybody is different.
Okay, now we have Rabbi Isaac's question. This is the one last big question here. We have been talking about trees that we planted either within 30 days or 30 days before. Okay? So 30 days is the amount that you need that when Rosh Hashanah comes, it's considered 1 year past. Right? And this Rosh Hashanah is considered a new year. Okay. And the vart is you'll have to wait till Tu B'Shvat. Okay. Like the Rishonim, the first ones, Rashi, Rambam, and everybody, who hold that we extended to Tu B'Shvat only by trees that were planted 30 days or more before Rosh Hashanah. Why? Because their first year got cut off, so we compensate. So here we have Rabbi Isaac's question. What happens if I plant my tree in Cheshvan? I plant my tree in Cheshvan, okay? So I have till Rosh Hashanah, it's almost a full year, okay? So I have Rosh Hashanah, 1 year is up. Rosh Hashanah Tavshin Ayin. Rosh Hashanah Tavshin Ayin Aleph, 2 years. Rosh Hashanah Tavshin Ayin Beis, 3 years. Do I have to wait till Tu B'Shvat, or do I have to wait till Tesvav Cheshvan if I planted it Tesvav Cheshvan? You're going to tell me wait till Tu B'Shvat, now you're making me wait more than 3 years. Till Tesvav Cheshvan, then I waited 3 years. Again, if I planted my tree Tesvav of, I'm getting away with murder. Because Rosh Hashanah, Tavshin Ayin Beis, basically only 2 years and 1 month passed. So you tell me wait another few months. But what if I planted it in Cheshvan, I planted it in Kislev, I planted it in Tevis, I planted it Yud Dalet Shvat? Can I just wait till Yud Dalet Shvat? Or till Rosh Chodesh Tevis or till Rosh Chodesh Kislev? Huh? So that's the question. I have to wait till Tu B'Shvat. This is a question only? Is this a question like Tosfos? No. Why? Because like them, you always have to wait till Tu B'Shvat. I couldn't care less that you planted it in Cheshvan. Why? Because the fruits till Tu B'Shvat are considered last year's fruits because they come from last year's rain. But like Rashi, who tainas that it's an extension only to compensate for that month that you lost, and therefore if you planted a tree within 30 days, you don't have to wait till Tu B'Shvat. No, it's not the Lashon. In Rashi, it's just implied in Rashi. No, but no.
Why did they pick Tu B'Shvat?
No, because from Rashi you see clearly.
Why did they pick Tu B'Shvat?
Elon.
Okay, so it's still Elon. Doesn't make a difference.
No, so it's considered a new year. But you see, Rashi clearly says that if you planted your tree within 30 days before Rosh Hashanah, right? So by the fourth Rosh Hashanah, you're good to go. You don't have to wait.
Right.
But why does Rashi say
that?
Where he says it?
Right.
Take a look at the first Rashi.
That I'm asking to, but it doesn't say that if you did it 31 days before Rosh Hashanah, then the compensation is till Tu B'Shvat.
Yeah.
It doesn't say that it's to give you time.
It says the Rambam and the...
Yeah. The Rishonim explain it.
So,
it's already an Ilan and he's not.
Huh? Look in Rashi. Rashi says, "Af bishamarnu also l'shana im chantu b'peres l'achar Rosh Hashanah shel shana shlishis." Yeah. Af bishamarnu also l'shana. What's also l'shana?
Because of Tishrei.
Also, because it was more than 30 days before.
Yeah.
Like them, it's not that more than 30. Even within 30 days, you have the same halacha. Rashi says, even though you said also l'shana, don't think you're getting away with this. You have to wait till Tu B'Shvat, and afterwards it's going to be Revoyi. And then look at the end of the Rashi. L'kacha ilula lamid shalifnei Rosh Hashanah shememayer hetera mitu B'Shvat va'ad Rosh Hashanah. There's no mistaking that this isn't the case where there's Lamed Lifnei. What if there's no Lamed Lifnei? Stick to the regular dates. Stick to Rosh Hashanah. So this is going to be the question. Do we have to give this guy a duty to wait more than 3 years? He has to wait till Chamish Asar B'Shvat or not? According to Tosfos, yeah. According to Rashi, it's not clear. So let me just tell you, B'Kitzer, in the Rishonim, there's a big machlokes about this itself, like the shitta of these Rishonim. And there's three completely different shittas about this. Shitta number one is, you gotta wait till Chamish Asar B'Shvat of the 4th year. Why? Because your first Arlah year was not complete. Since your first Arlah year was not complete, you started in Cheshvan, and you waited till Rosh Hashanah, that's not a complete year. So you go Rosh Hashanah, Rosh Hashanah, Rosh Hashanah, and you already wait till Tu B'Shvat. Once you're waiting till Tu B'Shvat. The other shitta is, no. The Tkufa of Arlah does not go into the 4th year, but rather, Echad B'Tishrei. When you have the end of the 3rd year, you're good to go. You're good to go, you don't have to wait more than that year. You don't have to wait. And the third shitta, the most interesting shitta in many ways, is the shitta of the Rambam. The Rambam believes that whenever you plant a tree between Rosh Hashanah and Chamish Asar B'Shvat, then your count is regular calendar years. Just 3 years, day to day. Don't mix in Rosh Hashanah. Don't mix in Tu B'Shvat. You planted Rosh Chodesh Cheshvan. You wait Rosh Chodesh Cheshvan 3 years later, and you're good to go.
That's what you were saying. It should be like
That's the original. That you go. Why? Huh? Then it becomes perfect.
And what is the limit of Ashuna? Only when you
Yes.
do it in 30
Yeah.
days.
So what's the other? 30 days still count, because up until 30 days is not considered an year. So the Rambam is still-
What?
The Rosh Hashanah doesn't make
What is
Most of the tree
Rambam
down in the
planted
fruits
planted less than 30 days before
in the
Chamish Asar.
first 3 years.
If you plant less than 30 days?
Before Chamish Asar.
No, he holds like Rashi. You go to Chamish Asar B'Shvat. So Grace
Rosh
Machlokes.
doesn't have a greenhouse, so we still have a problem.
Yeah, that's what the Rosh says, that in our time there's no paydas that are chaynet before Tu B'Shvat. So basically he says you never prolong it. No, so the point is you never prolong it. It's not a problem. Because by Tu B'Shvat,
It's never prolonging.
it's never prolonging because you're waiting. You're waiting. We're waiting, and there's no issue in waiting because you're not going to have fruits before. So all the fruits are going to be after Tu B'Shvat. So what's the problem? So everybody holds it's good. In other words, you wait till Rosh Hashanah the 3rd year, right? Whatever that is, and then you wait till Tu B'Shvat. You go l'chum, and he says it's not a problem because you're usually not going to lose anything. Why you're not going to lose anything? Because your fruits are going to come out afterwards. Basically, you can go l'chumra without any problem.
So now what happens is if it's within 30 days, Shuna is going to be the
Fruits
30
don't grow.
year,
It's not
even
growing
though
from September
it's
till
already an Ilan, but like Arlah is going to be the
Till April.
30 year. But like Maser, Tesut will become
Yeah.
be the
Yeah. Yes, things change, yeah.
Everything grows every time of the year.
Okay, let's see a few lines here now. Zog the Gemarah.
if the Hasbro is not called or it's called it, just
Zog the Gemara. We still have to understand one question, and that is why did they come up with 30 days? Come up with 2 months? Come up with a week?
What are they holding
Come up with
like
2 weeks? Like who decided 30 days? Like where did that happen?
What is the sheet?
Yeah, was happens?
Shittis HaToises, in Maisa.
Huh?
Shittis HaToises,
Yeah.
in Maisa. We have a unique,
Yeah,
that unique experience.
it's from the previous years. Yeah,
So why isn't that for Maisa too?
it is for fruits. It is for the fruits. Yeah, it is for everything. You're right. Yeah, for everything.
That's where they got it from.
Yeah. So the Gemarah, this brisa that tells me,
Yes and no, because I can't put 2 fruits together. Have the
Right.
same, the day before Tu B'Shvat,
is over.
and the day after Tu B'Shvat.
Two groups.
2 different unique.
Yes, yes.
The unique machine goes
Tov Shnayin Vav, Tov Shnayin Zayin.
Doesn't make sense according to them. If they want to say that it's unique for the Lagaminatias, then it has to go, you can't have it both ways. You don't eat from both sides of the cake. It's a Tia, I understand the practical is not a difference, but it doesn't make sense when I saw
you
it.
want to know if you look in the fire when
I want to
the
know
deer
that the
was.
day before Tu B'Shvat, the day after Tu B'Shvat, I can't be Ma'arav the Maestros. I can't do that with anything.
That's according to
Why not?
everybody.
Why not? Why not? If you're telling me that when it got unique effects,
Because after the Bishvat was the unique from the
well, so the same thing, okay, the same thing with the Chanukah. I don't know how they changed that. I don't understand it.
Zog the Gemara, Leimed Loiker of Meir. This brisa that tells me cutoff time is 30 days, and less than 30 days, it's not a year. I'm sorry, less than 30 days, You have to wait till your next Rosh Hashanah. Perhaps it does not go like Reb Meir. What's happens? Reb Meir ha'amar yoim echad b'shana chashav kashana. Reb Meir holds that you have an halacha situation where one day during the year is considered a year. So we believe that according to Reb Meir, even if I plant my tree chav ches elul or chav tes elul and one day passed, it's a year. I don't need 30 days. Where is this Reb Meir? The Tanya, we have a brisa, very interesting brisa, and this is a big yesod, because whenever you read in Chumash names of animals, how do you know how old it is? Zokt Reb Meir, par ha'omur b'toyre stam. Whenever it says in Torah to bring a par, a bull, without specifying the age, you should know a klal. It's minimum 24 months and a day, which means 2 full years going into the 3rd year. Par ben bakar is a 3-year animal. It already 2 years, 2 full years, and it's already in its 3rd year. 1 day. 1 day is enough. Rebbe Lazar Omer, no. Ben Estim varba chodesh u'shloishim yom. 24 months and 30 days. Both hold that when Torah says a par, it has to be within the 3rd year. It has to be 3 years old. But what does it mean 3 years old? 3 years old doesn't mean you have to wait 3 full years from the day it's born, but rather it has to go into the 3rd year. Reb Meir says 1 day into the 3rd year suffices. Reb Elazar says 30 days into the 3rd year. We'll soon see why. Shahayir Reb Meir used to say, and this everybody agrees with, this detail. Kol makam shenemar egel b'Torah stam. Wherever it says in the Torah the word egel, without the word ben bakar. Egel means a calf. Ben bakar means the son of a cow, of a full developed cattle, a full developed mammal. Whenever the Torah says egel, what is it? Ben Shana. Ben Shana means it's within the 1st year. It's within the 1st year. Remember, it can be within the first 8 days. Because within the first 8 days it's possible for a carbon, but it's in the 1st year. And the reason is because in Parshas Shmini, when it speaks about the 8th day of Miluyim, it says over there, the 8th day when they put up the Mishkan, it says you should bring egel v'cheves b'nei shana. So this is a binyanav, it's a paradigm. Egel means till 1 year. Keves means till 1 year. Egel v'cheves kol makom shem b'tevuteh ben shana. When it says egel ben bakar, this is ben shtayim. This is egel ben bakar is the next level. It's within 2 years. No. Sure, par is going to be 3 years, 3rd year. That's the difference. You have egel ben bakar, and you have par. 3 different halachas. Egel, it says clearly in Shmini that it's within a year. Egel ben bakar, the Torah compares in that parsha to an ayil. An ayil is of course an older sheep. If a sheep ends after 1 year, so when does it begin to be a ram? Within 2 years. So egel ben bakar is compared to the ayil. Next, par. Whenever it says par, whether it says par or par ben bakar, it's ben shalosh. It's within the 3rd year. It has to be 3 years or within the 3rd year. Therefore, Reb Meir says 24 months and a day is good. Reb Elazar says 24 months and a month. What do we see from Reb Meir? 1 day of the year, la halacha can have the definition of a year. According to Reb Elazar, you have to wait 30 days. 30 days. According to this, it means like this. Within the 1st year, it's called an egel. The moment you go into the 2nd year, and 1 day, it goes into the 2nd year, 1 day. According to Reb Meir, it's called egel ben bakar, and according to Reb Elazar, you need 30 days. Okay? So what do we see from here? If this is the case, why would Reb Meir have a problem even with 1 day of Elul? Shouldn't be a problem. Even if there's 1 day, it's still Chashav Shana. So we have to assume that our brisa is following Reb Elazar and not Reb Meir, and therefore we need at least 30 days to give it a year. That's the question. So let's just see what the Gemarah says. No, afilu teimer Reb Meir, this can work with Reb Meir. Ki kamer Reb Meir, yom echad b'shana Chashav Shana, b'soif Shana. Reb Meir can count 1 day as a year if it's the end of a year. For example, you have a par. He's 2 years old. Now you need to give him the end. You need to give him a 3rd year because a par is 3 years old. So therefore, for the end of the 3-year count, I could use a day. But if you want, that day should be counted in the beginning of your count of years. For example, you plant a tree before Rosh Hashanah 1 day, and you want that day should be the 1st year. Perhaps even Reb Meir would say, you can end it off on a lenient note. You have to start it off on a bang.
Why?
Huh?
What would the difference.
That would be the distinction the Gemarah is maybe making, just to say that we don't know, but there's no hechrich, we're not forced to say that Meir disagrees. Maybe you're right, maybe he does, but you can't tell me conclusive evidence, because there could be a svara that's a difference in the beginning of a year and the end of the year. This is what the Gemarah is suggesting now, which is going to be rejected immediately.
So yesterday, Shulchan Aruch, it's very much like the Magen Avraham. We got the Shabbos and the Tzibor, Shabbos Shir. He also tries, he shouldn't.
Right.
But after the Shabbos Shirs,
Don't talk to me
like
about
the Magen Avraham was machmir, he shouldn't put out
Don't
good
talk
food.
to me until I have my
Use old food.
Right.
Shulchan Aruch says the same thing.
I don't remember which simon. You looked it up? I don't remember.
I saw it yesterday. I was looking at the sheet, that's only the right thing, you know. The sheet is well, but
Start working on
I mean, you don't put out Erev Shabbos.
Yeah.
A shor is not an indication of age?
You don't have the word shor, you have the word par. Par is often.
Yeah, but when we literally go to Baba Basra or whatever, you know, everything's a shor, no? Or Baba Kama, whatever it is. Why do they use the
Because over there it's not negeya. Over there it's not negeya. The shor gores, it gores. I don't care how old it is. Over here it's negeya of the karbonis.
Why are they using that term? I was always curious why they use that term. I was always curious why they use that term over there. Why they use the term of shar? Like I would think an older animal already, you know the nature. An egel doesn't ram. It's not ready yet to be aggressive.
No, the question is when Torah says the word par, which is very, very often for karbonis, what is it? How old? It's negeya.
No, that's fine. No, it's a separate conversation. That's really a separate question. Going back to the bubbas, why we always talk about it as a shore instead of a par or an eagle?
Oh, because you're looking for a wild ox that gores.
An ox is usually neutered and doesn't have aggression. I'd rather. Now, they cut off the testicles.
But then they didn't always castrate it.
Usually when I talk about an ox,
And you're not allowed to castrate an animal.
you're not allowed to. I don't know. They probably did. They're very difficult. You can't use a bull that hasn't been neutered to plow your field. It doesn't work. They'll kill you.
Right.
So you talk about halacha and you talk about reality. It's usually two different things.
I was just reading up on this. Lav Dafka, by the way,
They'll
an
kill
ox.
you. You ever watch a rodeo? You get on
First
top
off,
of
man.
the bulls. They weigh 2,000 pounds and they're jumping.
What?
You-
It's most
They'll kill you
often
in a
males
second.
or steers. Called steer.
But it could be a female,
But it could be a female.
so you could plow with a female.
What?
You could plow with a
You can
female.
plow with a female.
females also called.
They used to put
The term
a
ox
ring in the nose
is a
to
male
be able to
and female.
control.
It could be also a female. No, I know that.
So I think it refers to over 3 years old, right? It refers to
Yeah, that's what we're learning.
over 3 years old. It has to have horns because the yoke doesn't fall off. Now when it puts its head down, the cow's head is smaller.
Right.
Than things. When it puts its head down, the yoke will fall right.
Right.
There's no yoke.
And the Gemarah is dealing here with the 30 days. They're only dealing with the last 30 days.
Steer,
Because
you
from
said?
Shevat till the 30 days is everything the same.
It'll be the same.
There
Halacha.
is
The
a
question is only
You'll
why-
still have to wait.
now.
If I plant my tree Purim, so Rosh Hashanah is year 1.
So the question is not why not 31. The question is not why not 29.
Yeah, 31 I understand. If 30 days is a year, for sure 31 days. The question is, why would it may or not hold?
Till the day.
Yeah, give me 1 day. As long as you gave me a day. You see, by par, you let me do that. So why you believe you go into the year, you're good. That's what you believe. In other words, listen, if we wouldn't have a source that Echad B'Tishri is Rosh Hashanah for Arlah, we wouldn't make Pshetlach. We would say 3 years is 3 years. Wait 3 years. Once I learn that Rosh Hashanah Tishrei is considered a new year, so how much time do I need from the previous year? So the May's shitta would be, how much time do I need? I need 1 day. I can't have 1 hour, but I need 1 day. I need something, because if not, it's a joke. But I need 1
I
day.
didn't know if there was
Here we see you don't need 1 day; you need 30 days. So the chayd is not like Rabbi. So the Gemarah wants to say no. that maybe the mayor would agree that for the beginnings, he won't allow a day. To make your first year, but to finish it off, it's already...
I don't think you can plow.
This class is brought to you by theyeshiva.net. Please help us continue the classes. Make even a small contribution at www.theyeshiva.net/donate.